Okay. Think of that. Think about that.
Got the video. We got the music playing now. The music is going to play. You and I are going to go back and forth like this. We're going to say some things, but people really can't hear because of volume. And then I'm going to do the countdown. And we bring it up a little bit. Maybe down or up. Who knows? And then I do the countdown where I go 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 48 of the Old Men Magic Podcast. What day is today, Alex? It's Sunday,
The 9th.
July 9th, 2023. Thank you for joining us. Please give us a like if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, maybe give us a comment. All of those things help us grow. We are approaching 100 subscribers, Alex. We are a juggernaut. The Old Men Magic Podcast cannot be stopped. How many subs does the biggest Magic the Gathering channel on YouTube have? I have no idea. Is it maybe like 200, 300? We're quickly approaching the point where we're going to become the largest Magic the Gathering channel on this platform. We have a lot to discuss today, Alex. Last week I said the One Ring watch was over. I lied. I do that all the time. We do have a little bit more One Ring news to discuss because some more details have been released.
It would have been good if we should have gone ahead and finished the intro segment for the One Ring watch, and then we could have used it today. But we just assumed we weren't,
Well, after today, the One Ring watch is going to be.
Yeah, we definitely aren't going to need it after today.
We also spotted some old frame cards in the market that we think are available for a pretty good price. We're going to talk about those. So this is kind of an MTG Finance heavy episode. But first, we have some follow-ups to the last episode, Alex. Follow-ups. Last week, we saw Living End for the first time. At least I saw Living End for the first time. You may have already known about it, Alex.
No, I just found out about it.
Okay. It is not a new card, but it's
article.
New to us. We mostly just are familiar with old school stuff, pre-modern era stuff. Living End is apparently a big card in more modern formats. And apparently it is heating up due to the release of 2 land cycling cards in Lord of the Rings, Oliphant and Generous Ent. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. After our episode dropped last week, this is how you know our podcast is. This is how you know we're doing big things, Alex.
I know. I got on here and I saw this on the list. I was like, oh.
We are moving the market.
It was either from us or that article that we were talking about.
It had to have been us. After we dropped our podcast yesterday, the 50 or so people who listened to our episode, we've had around like 50, 60 views. 2 of those were me. Maybe one of them was you. Maybe 3 of them were other people I know. But that means at least 40 people we don't know listened to that episode. I think they went out there like, we need Living End. We need it now. They spiked the price, 87.3%. This is the interest section from last week on MTG stocks. So Living End is moving. Just a review for people like me who aren't that familiar with Living End, what it might do. It was printed in Time Spiral originally. It's a sorcery. It has a black border, but still in the text box, they tell you that Living End is black. I don't know why they do that. Suspend 3, 2 colors, 2 black. Each player removes all creature cards in his or her graveyard from the game, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts into play all cards he or she removed this way. If you cast a Cascade card and you pull Living End, you can cast it for free and it goes off immediately instead of suspending.
Yeah,
right?
I think maybe we didn't get to that in the last episode or we edited a little bit, but that's, I guess, one of the things that makes this such a cool card is that you get to avoid that time delay with it.
I didn't know that from the discussion we had the week prior. So I learned that when you sent me this text. That was going to be part of the follow-up.
That must have just been what I was getting at, that I wasn't sure if we had gotten that idea across.
I don't think we did because I wasn't aware of it unless you mentioned it and I just blocked it out. It was too much new information all at once. That didn't stick. But even reading this, why is that? If you cast a Cascade card and you pull Living End, I understand why you cast this for free, but why does it not suspend? That's something that I'm not sure about. So these are two mechanics that like we have never played with before, cascade and suspend. So I just went to the MTG wiki to make sure that I know how they actually operate. Cascade. Cascade is when you cast a spell with cascade, you exile cards from the top of your library. So you flip them over, put them in the exile zone until you exile a non-land card whose mana value is less than the cascading spell. Once you hit that card, you can then cast that card without paying its mana cost. So basically, what you were telling me is if you cast a card with cascade, you're flipping over until you come to Living End. You can then cast Living End, and then it doesn't have to suspend for 3. It's just anything that's cascaded, even if it has a suspend mechanic. It takes
That's
place
my
immediately.
understanding. Yes, that's what I think I learned about this.
So that's what we think we learned about Living End. If anybody knows differently, if anybody out there is like, we've played these cards before, we're familiar with these mechanics, that's not how it works, let us know. I also read a little bit about suspend on the MTG wiki. The way they describe it is suspend is a keyword that represents 3 abilities, so they break it up into 3 parts. The first is a static ability, allowing you to exile the card from your hand with the specific number of time cards. So time counters, sorry. So you play Living End, you put it into that exile zone with 3 time counters. Second ability is a triggered ability that removes a time counter from the suspended card at the beginning of each of your upkeeps. So that's very clear. Every upkeep, 1 less suspend counter. The third is a triggered ability that causes you to cast the card when the last time counter is removed. So that's also very clear too. Third upkeep, if this has 3, suspend 3, on your third upkeep, you remove that final counter and then it's cast. When we saw this card last week, it made me think of an Old Man Magic card from Legends.
Hey, wait, sorry, before you talk about that, I think I found the comment that that made me believe this. Okay, this is a guy on Gather, and he says, side note, cascading into it will work. I believe this is why. He says, this has a converted mana cost of 0 and will be cast without the need to spend it when either of the aforementioned cascade cards hits it. So, I mean, that's just someone claiming that. You know, I can't verify that, but I guess it has something to do with the fact that its converted mana cost is 0. Well, that might just make it, you know, an attractive target for the cascade, because cascade something has to be a lower casting cost than the card you use to cascade. So that makes it like, yeah.
This is literally the only card I've ever seen with suspend on it. This is the first time I've come across this mechanic. Do they all have converted mana cost of 0? Is the casting cost for all suspend cards like down here in the text box instead of up here?
See, I don't know how many other suspend cards are there are, but I know there's a cycle of them from this set. And the other comment I read, see if I can find it.
I'm typing. Maybe we do a follow-up next week on additional suspend cards from Time Cycle to see if they all work this way.
Okay, here you go. Originally, the minimum cost of a cascade spell was locked at 3 mana to force deck building concessions, as a 2 mana cascader would find any given 1-drop. This ended up being a major oversight due to the time spiral cycle of 0-cost sorceries.
Okay, so yeah, that answers the question. They're not all 0. Right? That's what you just said, right? Okay.
I guess. But that's from the cascade entry, not the suspend entry. So I don't know how many other cards.
Oh, okay.
Many other cards have suspend.
But Living End made me think of All Hallows Eve from Legends. I was like, oh, how does this card stack up against All Hallows Eve from Legends? All Hallows Eve is a rare, also a sorcery, 2 colorless, 2 black. So it has a traditional casting cost, but the traditional casting cost is the same as the, I don't even know how to refer to this, as the suspend casting cost. Put 2 counters on this card when you remove a counter during your upkeep. No, sorry. Put 2 counters on this card, then remove a counter during your upkeep. When you remove the last counter from All Hallows Eve, all players take all creatures from their graveyard and put them directly into play. Treat these creatures as though they were just summoned. You choose what order they come into play. So I like it when I find modern cards that are very similar to these old school cards, because there's a lot of things in Legends and some of the older sets that I've always wanted to play. And, you know, back in the mid 90s, late 90s, and when they were like $20, I didn't have the money for them then. And now in 2023, when I would be able to afford a $20 card, they're approaching $600. So I still don't have the money for All Hallows Eve. But it turns out like there's been all sorts of cards that were printed in more modern sets that are similar enough to some of these old reserve list cards that you could still build like a similar type of deck, still get the same kind of flavor, similar gameplay without having to spend all the money on the old cardboard. So I thought that was cool. It's pretty similar to All Hallows Eve. I mean, what are the differences? So All Hallows Eve, it sits there for 2 turns. Living End has 3 suspend counters, so you need to last 3 upkeeps. All Hallows Eve take all players take all creatures from their graveyards, put them directly into play. Living End, each player removes all cards in his or her graveyard from the game, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts into play all cards he or she removed this way. So Living End has the difference that it takes the creatures in play, removes them from the game, and then replaces them with things that are in your graveyard. All Hallows Eve has no step where it takes things out of the game. It's just all graveyard based.
Yes, correct. Yeah, okay. So it's not like a wipe.
But I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, I'm never going to be building an All Hallows Eve deck unless I just proxy it all up, which I always could do. But maybe I'll build.
About All Hallows Eve, now it says, the new text says, it has scream counters.
Okay.
Exile All Hallows Eve with 2 scream counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it is exiled with a scream counter on it, remove a scream counter from it.
I heard somebody say that.
Huh?
I heard somebody say that because after I started thinking about All Hallows Eve again, I looked up some YouTube videos on All Hallows Eve. I saw some gameplay videos where people were playing All Hallows Eve decks, and I saw a short where somebody was talking about All Hallows Eve, and in that short he was referring to the scream counters, and I was like, what's that about? That must have just them being cute because this Christopher Rush art kind of looks like the Scream mask. Do you think that's why they made that change?
I don't know if it's the Scream mask specifically. I mean, it's a Halloween card.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But they could have called them like
maybe
spooky counters or something. But
or something.
This does look like the Scream mask, right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
I think it looks like the Green Goblin.
Okay. It's sick art too. You know, like the Living End art, it's good, it's ghoulish, it's gross.
I like these
demented,
old school arts.
But
sometimes.
There's just a different flavor to the old stuff. There's just something about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to describe this. It's like almost cartoonish, almost Scooby-Doo-ish, but also creepy at the same time.
A little more playful, I guess you could say.
So that's our Living End follow-up and our discussion of how Living End relates to All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, they definitely have changed everything, like, that did stuff with turns. Oh, wait, I guess it does. Never mind. It did say counters on it originally. It just didn't say scream counters. Okay.
Yeah, it just didn't say scream counters. They just felt like they needed to add that for some reason.
Yeah, okay.
It doesn't change the card in any way.
Maybe now they always specify, like, a name for a kind of counter like that. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that. First
segment, Alex. More on the One Ring. The One Ring watch continues. There's not much to talk about here, but there was just some additional details that were released. The person who actually pulled the One Ring is talking to the media a little bit. My hands were literally shaking. Ultra rare One Ring game card found by, they call him a Toronto collector here, but also in this first sentence, pulled by a retail worker. So I don't know all the details of this guy yet exactly, but it sounded like it was just like some regular person who bought maybe, I think he said 2 boxes. They're a retail worker who lives in Toronto. Man, what is this doing? In a statement provided to CBC News through an agency they hired to handle the once-in-a-lifetime sale, my hands were literally shaking. I couldn't believe it was real. The card owner said in an email through Notable Group, the marketing and PR agency represented them. These things don't happen to people like me. So he's doing the right things. He's getting people to represent him. He's not releasing his real name. So far, I think the $2 million from the Spanish LGS is still the highest price. I at least haven't heard
highest I've seen
any other price offer. Although at this point, I don't know that you would hear, like they were making these public offers before the ring was pulled. But now that the ring was pulled, if anybody wanted to pay more than $2.1 million, they now know
a private offer at this point
that this person's represented by an agency. They're probably contacting the agency. They contacted PSA. The card was authenticated and graded by PSA. They wanted to get it authenticated by PSA as soon as possible, according to Halifax-based Brad Hartland, who is with PSA Canada. He said, I was like, yeah, jump in line. You're the 20th person that said they had the card. So multiple people were apparently, what's the end game here? Is it just to like be a nuisance? Or do you think there were people out there that actually counterfeited the card and they thought maybe they did it well enough that they could get away with getting PSA to grade it?
Maybe it was people that just like didn't know enough about it and they thought they'd actually opened it. Like didn't realize the difference between the serialized and just one of the other ones.
Okay, there is definite potential there. There is somebody who knows nothing about Magic the Gathering. They might have just heard that the One Ring was put in one pack and it was worth $2 million, and they might not know about the serialized issue.
Yeah, like
they
a
might
Lord
have
of the Rings
pulled
collector or something like that.
Yeah, they might have pulled the One Ring and been like, I'm rich, contacted PSA. After doing some due diligence, the specifics of which he's not at liberty to share. So there are some things that nobody knows about the cards that Wizards of the Coast probably told PSA to look for. He was 99% sure that it was the One Ring. I was wondering how it got there. What do you do to keep it safe? The answer is PSA flies to you. He flew to Toronto, secured the card from the owner's representative, then brought it back to California, PSA headquarters, where it's authenticated, graded. Coolest thing about this article was it's just a retail worker. I think I saw in another article, potentially this Dexerto.com article. This kind of thing doesn't happen to me. I think he might have mentioned that he bought two collector's boxes. So, he wasn't like us where he just bought 1 to 2 packs, but still just a person who wasn't loading up on stock. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't mention it in this article, but yeah, he bought, I saw somewhere he bought 2 boxes and it was halfway through the second box where he pulled the card and he said his hands were just like shaking and he was freaking out. So I'm happy for this person. It's nice to see just a small fry pull $2 million out of a Wizards of the Coast booster pack. There were some people on the internet I saw like responding to, I think it was this CBC article about how, of course it's a retail worker. They get all the good stuff. The retail workers just pull all the good stuff off the shelves before the regular people can get it. And I'm like,
that meant that he works in a store that sells Magic cards. I think they just meant that he like has a job in retail.
He but even if he did work at a card that at a shop that sold Magic cards, it's like
still,
retail workers, first of all, yes, they can open the boxes before you, but they also get paid like $12 an hour. So trust me, like the retail workers aren't cornering the market on all the product out there. Also, nobody told this guy that like the One Ring was definitely in his shop.
And
the comment that I saw, it was like,
the more I think about it, the more ridiculous that gets. That's like
they were like specifically caught it like Walmart and Target. They're like, these people who work at Walmart or Target, they get first dibs on all the good stuff. It's just some guy who works at Target who barely gets paid anything, who just can pull the stuff off he can pull a box or pack off a shelf like an hour before you can. He has no secret information about what's in those packs. Don't get mad at the retail workers. Just be excited that Star City Bend didn't pull this. And again, nothing against Star City Bend, but the story's so much better if it's just some regular person who's making like $15 an hour and now all of a sudden his life has changed. Hopefully for the better. Hopefully he doesn't get murdered for the One Ring or something. That would be terrible. I shouldn't have said that. I don't even put that bad juju out there in the world. But I do still hope he doesn't get murdered. On a related note, there's been a quick rebound in the price of the Lord of the Ring collector's boosters, Alex. The card was found last Friday. We pulled up TCG Player last Sunday or Monday. I can't remember what day we recorded last week. Maybe even Tuesday. We saw how quickly the prices collapsed, like the same day that it was announced that the card was pulled. Like that Friday, these collector boosters were selling for like $48 a piece. And hours after the news hit Twitter, they were down to $33. And that's where they were last week when we recorded on the 3rd or the 4th, around 4th of July, $33. But here we are, July 9th. They're rising again. They're back up above 40 consistently selling. 42, 43, 44, 41. So there's still a lot of value, at least to some people, in these packs. The Nazguls are still rising. I saw the Nazguls on this interest page too.
Mm-hmm.
When we were pulling our
Masters
boosters,
is still going up, and the Witch King is going up, and Lord of the Nazgul. The One Ring is going up. It's being used a lot, it seems like.
Yeah. When we were pulling our boosters, when we were opening our boosters, the Nazguls were all about $10.
$10, I think. Yeah.
Now they're all around 15 to 20.
Wow.
Let me search this. At least according to, this MTG stock's interest. Not always exactly.
I read something and I wasn't sure exactly how it worked. It was a little over my head about, how the different slots within a pack work. And they were saying because of, the different types of cards that a certain slot can share, the Nazgul, the 9, uncommon Nazgul are actually, it's a little bit harder to get them, I guess, than other uncommons for some reason, they were saying.
Okay. So it's like a U1, U2, U3 situation.
Sort of like that, but also kind of like about how, remember how we were talking about how, in the collector's packs, you can get stuff from the commander decks, like the pre-constructed commander decks.
Okay.
Sometimes. I think it's something like that. Something else is like encroaching on its spot.
Well, look, this is the interest page from weekly interest page. 15, 16
Yeah,
bucks.
look at that. Wow.
15, 17 bucks. They've gone down a little bit here, but they're up 50% from when we were opening the packs just a couple weeks ago. One Ring Extended Art, which you pulled, $75. It was like 40 something.
Yeah, I've been watching. It's been going. When I looked a day or two ago, the cheapest one I think was like 71, 72.
You pulled a good pack, man.
I did. That was
one pack, Extended Art, One Ring. Was it a foil? Is that thing foil?
No, it's not foil. Just Extended Art, and then Lord of the Nazgul Extended Art.
Lord of the Nazgul, which is now about $15. So you're looking at like current value of $90 from that one collector booster that you bought.
No, I don't know what to do, Steve.
Hold it forever.
Should I?
I don't know.
Part of me says everything's hot right now because the set's new and prices will drop. And then we have more Lord of the Rings coming out later this year. But then part of me is also like, after that, like, when are you going to get a Lord of the Rings card reprinted? It's going to be a long time, probably, if ever. And if people are really liking these, especially the One Ring, it seems like there's, it's going into a lot of decks. People are using it a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough to say.
If you trade it in, what are you going to get? Half of what it's currently worth? Is there anything that you really want for like $40? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
You
I'll
could
probably
sell it for
hope
$40.
Keeps going up a little bit.
Is $40 going to change your life? I don't know. Even if the card goes up in price, it's not going to go up so much that that's ever going to change your life.
Right.
So I would just say to you, it's like, if you want to have a One Ring, keep the One Ring. Lord of the Nazgul is cool too. If you ever want to build a Nazgul deck in the future, I got a Nazgul. I can give you a
Yeah.
Nazgul. You'll have the Lord ready to go. You
I
have
was
to
kind
buy
of thinking,
future
I
Nazguls.
know it's probably really hard to find them at this point. On TCG Player, they've gone up beyond the initial price, but the pre-constructed Mordor deck that has like Lord of the Nazgul in it is it's been going up. And if I could find it somewhere for like the low normal price or a cheap price, I think I might buy one just because it would be cool to have.
I've never bought a pre-con.
Neither have I. Thought it might be neat to.
Yeah, I might at some point in the not too distant future. Buy a pre-con, try to play some Commander with some people at a shop.
Definitely, yeah. If we're trying to teach other new people to play it, it might be a way to go. We could buy some pre-cons and then we're all on like equal footing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this the Hosts of Mordor, it's the blue, red, black deck. Looks like for a while it was like mid 60s. It had gone down to like below 60, and now it's up to 90.
What's it called? Hosts of Mordor?
Hosts of Mordor, yeah.
You can look. Okay, you can look these up on TCG Player. They probably don't tell you what's in them here on TCG Player, though, do they?
I don't think so on TCG Player.
Yeah.
Tell you a lot of stuff, but not what's in it.
Yeah, not the name of the cards that are in it. Because why would you want to know that?
So yeah, this is the kind
approaching
of
90.
If you could find this on the shelf at like some retailer that's just, charging $60 like when it came out, that would be a hot pickup.
I'm trying to scan back and see what it was originally priced at. All the way back to early January. We're back a week now. Still like $80. Do you think they came out at 60 originally?
Well, it's down around 60 from like at the beginning of June.
Okay. I don't want to scan back that far.
Pre-order prices, right?
That is still pre-order prices, I think, yeah. You've probably never pre-ordered anything, right?
Huh?
You've never pre-ordered anything, right? No. I see lots of people talk about how their pre-order price or how the pre-orders are just canceled, like out of the blue consistently. If they try to.
Yeah, I've seen people talk about that sort of thing. Yeah. Sometimes they get delayed, sometimes they get canceled. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, 50, 40, mid-June.
I think the other ones have stayed around that price, like the other three pre-cons.
50,
I forget what they're called now, so I don't know how to look them up. But
people want them Nazguls.
And I don't think the Nazguls, the uncommon ones, might not even be in that pre-con. It might just be all like the Witch King and I could be wrong about that, but I think when I looked at the list, it wasn't on there.
Okay. People want that Lord of the Nazgul. They want that Witch King. Is the Ring Wraith in there, Alex? Host of Mordor.
Host of Mordor deck list. Here it is. I could read them all, but I'm not going to.
Oh, I can look it up on Moxfield.
Oh, cool. I don't see Nazgul on there.
They got an Anger in here. That's a pre-modern card we've talked about with the goofy, like, angry baby. This art's not as good as the weird art. Yeah, I see Lord of the Nazgul.
Mouth of Sauron.
Saruman the White Hand. Siege Gag Commander.
But yeah, so then people buy decks, obviously, and then they sub out things and try to upgrade them with like better cards or whatever. So I'm not sure if they're putting the Nazgul into this deck. But I know people are making Wraith decks now.
Yeah, this is full of goblins. And orcs. I guess there's lots of orcs in this set.
Troll.
Okay. Unexpected discussion on the Hosts of Mordor pre-con.
Have you seen that Cavern Horde Dragon yet? It's pretty cool.
I don't know what you're talking about. Is that in here? Oh, it's in here.
It's one of the cards that's taking off price wise. I think they're going, I don't know what, $15 or something.
9 casting cost, 6/6. Cost X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts an opponent controls. Okay, so it's probably going to be, it's going to be less than 9 casting costs almost all the time. Flying Trample Haste. I love haste. I love flying. I love trample. Whenever Cavern Horde Dragon deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. I love treasure.
So it's good against
dragons.
artifact decks, artifact heavy decks.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Yeah, they're going for $23 for the extended art right now.
Jeez Louise.
Jesus.
Jesus Louise. All the money people spend on cardboard. What are we doing? I'm back to spending money on cardboard again. What is going on with my life? I stopped doing this 25 years ago because I was like, why am I spending money on cardboard? Here I am.
Here I am.
Let's go on to the next segment, Alex. More about money we can spend on cardboard. Cardboard that we might want to buy right now. Segment 2, I wanted to revisit Dominaria Remastered. So Dominaria Remastered was released about 6 months ago. It was January 13th, 2023. I wanted to check in on this set because there were a lot of pre-modern legal cards that were reprinted in this set. That's my focus. Old frame, pre-modern cards. I would like to purchase the old bordered versions for my decks, but instead of buying them right away, I wanted to wait a little bit, see if maybe the Dominaria reprints would reduce the price of the old versions. So one caveat to this is that like markets might be dropping for all sorts of reasons. You know, there's the reprint, but then also prices of a lot of stuff, even things that aren't reprint are dropping. But I think if you look at the price charts here, you can make the case pretty strongly that a lot of these prices are collapsing specifically because they were just reprinted in Dominaria Remastered. I think it was a pretty big print run too. Let's start with the tutors. There were a lot of things in Dominaria Remastered, Alex, including some tutors that I really like. These are cards that I didn't wait to buy. These are cards as soon as we got back into Magic, I was like, oh, I need some tutors. I started buying some tutors.
Smart.
I was surprised how expensive they were. I should have waited a little bit longer. It's good that I didn't get all the tutors that I wanted because there's still opportunity for me to get some of these that are at cheaper prices. But I did load up on Enlightened tutors. I think I have 3 Enlightened tutors. So the tutors, they reprinted Mirage block tutors, Enlightened tutor, Mystical tutor, Worldly tutor. They reprinted Vampiric tutor, which had been reprinted previously. This is originally printed in Visions. And they reprinted Gamble. So I was looking at the price charts for some of these cards the other day. And this was like, oh, I made a bad decision buying my Enlightened tutors when I did. Enlightened tutor has collapsed, Alex. So if you ever wanted to start establishing your Enlightened tutor position, this is not a terrible time. Classic 6th edition, I go for the OG Mirage. This is a card that had just been going up steadily in price for years. Just chugging along. It's like the Johnson & Johnson of Mirage cards. It's like, what else is just like a steady compounder? Give me another stock. The Coca-Cola of Mirage cards. But then this is what happens. Somebody releases the Coca-Cola secret recipe. The price collapses. I was buying this card. I think I bought my 3 copies for like around $35 each. And it just has plummeted. It's back down to like 2018, 2019 prices almost. Will it drop further? I don't know. Don't ask me.
I don't have any of these. I don't
Not
have any
a bad time to buy.
Demonic tutor.
Under $20 for Enlightened tutor. Mystical tutor. Enlightened tutor, I think historically was the most expensive. Mystical tutors dropped a lot too. Let's take a look at this price chart. $20 for the classic 6th edition. Mirage, also around $20. I am surprised that like the 6th edition ones are pretty much the same price as the Mirage. I don't know why typically people like to go for the black border version and pick up the black border version like a lot more often than any white border version. But the 6th edition of Mirage prices for these tutors are pretty similar. But you can get the Mystical tutors for under $10. I think I only bought 2 Mystical tutors.
It'd be nice if Mirage packs came down. stupid Lion's Eye Diamond. If it weren't for
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you could probably pick up some tutors, decently easy just through some Mirage packs. But Lion's Eye Diamond makes them so expensive.
Worldly Tutor's the second most expensive tutor from this cycle, and it's down to almost $10. Is it below 2019 prices according to MTG stocks? I think it is. Yeah, below 2018, 2019 prices. So now's a great time to pick up these tutors. And you can see, like, it was right. All these tutors we looked at right in January. That's when they start having. So it was really the reprint here. I don't know if the price of the Vampiric tutor has been touched as much. Let me look this one up. Originally printed in Visions, then reprinted in Classic 6th edition. This one had been dropping for quite some time. I don't know why it peaked at $100 in 2021. The Visions one looks so much better with the black border. Black cards especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much has happened. Like, it was already well off its all-time high. We go to January, $60. Now it's 40. Okay, I guess that's something. Just doesn't look like a very big drop. Hasn't moved as much as the Mirage tutors, but still, not a bad time to get in. I guess my take-home message from this part would be, get your tutors, people. If you don't have your tutors, buy your tutors. You could also maybe wait 6 more months. Maybe they'll drop even further, but they're already back to 2018 prices.
Yeah, I can't see. It seems like a pretty safe time to try to buy them. How much more are they going to drop? Especially the old ones. Like, I could see if you wanted to maybe wait for the Dominaria 1 versions to come down a little more.
That's what I go for. I go for the older ones. And yeah, if you don't care about the older versions too, these are all cheaper in their Dominaria versions. The Dominaria reprints, there were so many good ones, and they're really, really affordable. Gamble dropped from above 20. What was it in January 2023? Let's say $23 down to 14. Not quite half, but that's a significant drop. This is the Urza's Saga card. If you don't remember this one, Alex, we never played with Gamble. 1 red sorcery, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then discard a card at random, shuffle your library after. It's scary.
Scary.
What is the Dominaria Remastered? What is the price of the Dominaria Remastered one? $5. Yeah. So they're significantly cheaper. I do really like these
that one looks good.
Extended art. Dominaria Remastered Extras had a lot of sick extended art.
Yeah, that's a good looking card.
I go back and forth on these things because I like consistency in my deck. I like to have the same kind of border. But so many of the extended art cards have like really awesome art that I just want to slot them in, even though they look so different than the other Magic card.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I've been looking at a few cards like this that I am considering playing with, just to mix it up a little, have different art.
Then they had a list of other cards too that they rarity shifted and printed in Dominaria Remastered. One was a card that you and I remembered from Ice Age that we never played with, and then when we came back to Magic, we found out that it was way more expensive than we ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
And it was because people were playing it like crazy. And Commander, it's an Ice Age common 1, so there's literally like 4 billion copies of this card floating around.
Although many of them have crayon on them and are scratched across concrete surfaces repeatedly.
Yeah. Or somebody took a Sharpie and wrote Mock Sapphire on the front.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of thing we would do with Mystic Remorse back in the day. They were our proxies, our Balduvian hordes. Mystic Remora was a proxy, Balduvian horde. It got up to like, what did it used to be? $10? Yeah, it was like $10 when we first got back into Magic. We were like, what the hell? I never thought a Ice Age common would get up to $10. But it started dropping for various reasons before the reprint, but still it was close to $10 in January, and it's plummeted $4. So you can pick up Mystic Remorse pretty cheap. I was kind of surprised that it dropped this much from this reprint because it was rarity shifted from common to rare.
Oh,
so this was an Ice Age common, and that's a Dominaria Remastered rare. So I think Dominaria Remastered had a big print run. I see the card showing up everywhere, but is it Dominaria Remastered rare?
I mean, I think that's enough. That's enough to affect the price. Because if the old one, just imagine the old one had just, had been a rare already, like reprinting it again at rare could make its, price drop significantly like that.
Yeah. I just thought maybe there would be so many Ice Age commons out there that
I think
card pool was already so
surprising
huge
that it got so expensive to begin with. There's obviously a ton of demand, and
I wonder how much of this was people just stocking up on this card.
It might be. Some of it might have been speculation too. Like at that
a ton
time.
of speculation, and then they saw the reprint and they freaked out and they dropped.
Don't speculate on Ice Age commons. I don't think even if it's desirable, these things are just going to keep coming out of closets.
Don't do it.
That's the thing about I don't know. A card like this, I feel like there's probably just a ton of people that have it and don't realize it's worth money right now.
Exactly.
There's bunches in boxes.
I probably threw a lot of these away when I threw away all my commons 15 years ago, but there are also plenty of people, like you said, they just didn't throw their stuff away. They're just sitting in their parents' closet somewhere. Or they kept their cards with them and it's just in a stack that they never ever look through. But as soon as they find out something's $10 now instead of 10 cents, they're going to take the 9 copies they have from the box of Ice Age that they opened back in the day, and they're just going to unload them. A couple other cards shifted from uncommon to rare. Arborea was one. Alex, this is an Enchant World. You were like, Enchant Worlds are never going to be reprinted. Load up on Enchant Worlds. I didn't load up on Enchant Worlds, but I did buy an Arborea. Original Legends. Price drop, but not all that much. I think I bought mine for close to $20. It was in the upper teens. Now
I bought mine for 19, I think, or 20, 19 bucks.
$16. So it hasn't dropped much. This is a Legends card. Legends uncommon. But if you wanted to play with Arborea, you just didn't have the $15 to spend on the Legends version. The Dominaria Remastered versions are cheap as hell. 50 cents. If you ever wanted
two different pretty good looking cards there, I think.
I like this one a lot. This is add this to the list of extended art cards from Dominaria Remastered that I really enjoy. The art,
even the one right above it, the one that looks like it's an old border, that one looks pretty good too. But those are cheap. Wow,
50 cents.
Wow.
Gemstone Mine was also shifted from uncommon to rare. Gemstone Mine is a card that I always really liked.
I like it too.
I put it in a lot of decks. It's been making its way into a lot of my premodern decks, especially because of the lack of dual lands. So when I have decks that I want to build with 3 colors, I've been going the Gemstone Mine route. We'll see what's happening to my internets.
I still want to experiment using it in combination with lair lands.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
It's a good thing to bounce back. Gemstone Mine, it far off its high. I don't know why. Sometimes in 2019, this card was approaching $20. Don't know what was going on there. It came back to earth about a year later. But right now, Gemstone Mine, after that reprint, $4, it's cheaper than it's been in almost 10 years.
Yeah, I bought mine for $5 last year, 5 or 6, I think.
If you wanted old border Gemstone Mines, this is a great time to buy them, in my opinion. And then there was a series of cards that were rarity shifted from rare to mythic rare. And a lot of these are cool pre-modern cards that I didn't want to buy because I don't have an immediate use for them. But I could see myself playing with them in the future. And if they keep dropping in price, I'm going to pick some up. First is Hunting Grounds. This is an enchantment from Judgment. And you can see it was dropping a little bit already. But from the announcement of Dominaria Remastered, it's halved in price, down to $6 from like $12, $13 down to $6. This is an enchantment, 1 green, 1 white, threshold. When we do our threshold episode, we'll probably bring this up.
Okay.
Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may put a creature card from your hand into play. So this seems like it would be fun.
I like that card.
Consider just putting it in my commander deck as another way to just like cheat out my high casting cost creatures.
Yeah, it would be great in commander. Works well in a green-white enchantressy deck. Works well with, I like that. I like these. Threshold I wasn't looking at too hard at first, but especially in commander, it's cool, and I'm starting to look at it a little more now.
So you could pick this guy up for $5, I'm sure, easy.
That was like the second most expensive card in Judgment.
Yeah. Or again, if you don't want the old border, I'm sure it's like 50 cents in Dominaria Remastered. No Mercy. This was another reprint that was rarity shifted from rare to mythic rare. It hasn't dropped as much, but it is coming down. It did come down more after its reprint. It was already on its way down. It was originally a rare from Urza's Legacy. 2 colorless, 2 black enchantment. Whenever a creature successfully deals damage to you, do you destroy it? This is a good card for obvious reasons. I like cards that you can run in like... You don't even have to run this in like a creatureless deck. You know, like the Abyss, where you would just want artifact creatures or no creatures, and you just have something on the board to get rid of their creatures. You could still run your creatures just fine with a No Mercy deck. But
you just don't want blockers. You just use them for attacking.
$25, not a bad pickup. Definitely far off of its all-time highs of $50 back in 2021.
I would still like that to be cheaper.
I'm not going to pick it up right now because I don't have an immediate use for it. Yeah, and if something's like $25, if I don't want it, like for a deck I'm actively building, I'm not going to buy it.
Let's see what that bottom one looks like, the masterpiece one.
Dominaria Remastered versions for $6 to $8. Well, not a huge fan of this. There's too much going on.
What's happening there?
Neither do I. I can't figure it out. Okay, so that was a miss.
Like that masterpiece one?
What'd you say?
What's that masterpiece one at the bottom look like?
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, these. I never pay attention to these.
I know you don't. I want to see
invocations. Yeah, if you want to spend like 5 times the normal price on any card to get some crazy art, you buy these invocations. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. These are the things that I dream of finding at a flea market one day.
Yeah.
Because I would have no, like I would happily offload these.
Sell them
and I wouldn't be tempted to keep them in my collection and just have them sit there in a box forever. I'd be like, I don't like this card. It's worth a lot of money. Getting rid of it. So that's No Mercy. Time Stretch. Time Stretch was another card that I liked.
I don't think.
Wanted to pick up. Was expensive. Has gotten a little less expensive after its reprint. I say a little less expensive. More than a little. Reprinted in 10th edition. I want to go to the Odyssey. The Odyssey version, I think, has cephalids in the art. Was up to 30, 25, plummeted. This one is one that just plummeted as soon as the reprint was announced. Halved in price. Time Stretch. 8 colorless, 2 blue, sorcery. Target player takes 2 extra turns after this one. So it's a double time walk. And there were ways.
Double time walk.
There were ways to like cheat this out, I believe.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this very briefly in an old episode.
Really?
We talked about something people do to get this out for less than 10 mana. Can't remember what that is.
There's definitely things that let you like play a spell for free. You know, you can even run it in some of the, if you have some like wicked mana ramp type decks, like a black or green, black blue or green blue.
That's what I was thinking. Or even in a
Damned or Rain of Filth or like something like that.
And most of this is colorless mana too, so you could run it in like a Mana Vault deck.
Mana Vault's a good one.
A Tron deck, like a blue Urza land based deck. There's ways to get 8 colorless mana.
I was thinking about Mana Vault the other day and how I need to get one. And I'm mad that it's so expensive.
I want to get one too. I don't have one.
I'm not sure. I think we mentioned this before, but like we never paid attention to that card
Never.
back in the day. And I don't know. I think I was just like too dumb to think of using it only once and then never untapping it. Oh well.
People, I don't even know like if people outside of our play group ever used it much. Like, did it get much
Yes,
tournament type
did
1
see
play?
some like higher level play.
Okay.
But we just weren't aware of it. I'll have to look that up. We can maybe come back to that and talk about the history of Mana Vault when it.
The only high level, like old school deck that I was ever into back in the day and that I ever built decks based around was the deck. Weissman's The Deck. And there were never any Mana Vaults in his iteration of that. So if it wasn't in the deck, I didn't really pay attention to what anybody in the competitive landscape was doing. But yeah, it might have been big, and yeah, we never played it. Last Chance. Another card that was rarity shifted from rare to mythic rare. I think originally printed in Mirage. Now in Dominaria Remastered. Again, you can get these things cheap as hell if you just want to pick up the new frame version. Dominaria Remastered. 2 red sorcery, take an extra turn after this one at the beginning of that turn's end step. You lose the game. This was always a fun, like red deck win style card to play back in the day. Was this not a Mirage card? Am I like hallucinating?
You're probably confusing it with Final Fortune.
I am confusing with Final Fortune. Okay, so it was just a portal card. Oh, smokes. Okay.
I mean, it's the same as Final Fortune.
Okay.
I think they just basically, they just reprinted it with a different name in Portal.
Okay, that makes sense then. This, I don't want to say this is affected by the Dominaria Remastered reprint, because while it definitely started dropping after January, it had already been dropping for like 2.5 years. From a high price of $100, there must have been some insane COVID era speculation on the Portal set. Like
that wouldn't surprise me, because I know there was a little, at least with like 3 Kingdoms. I know that's way more rare, but I think I did see, well, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting mixed up. I thought I'd seen some Portal cards being more expensive than I thought they should have been.
Let's see if the Final Fortune price tag.
That's what I was just starting to look up. I was going to check what Final Fortune looked like around then.
The Classic 6th edition price did nothing after the Dominaria Remastered reprint. People are like, we don't even know that this is the same card, so we don't care that we can get it cheap in Dominaria Remastered. Because we're like Steve, we don't know that Final Fortune is also Last Chance. The Final Fortune from Mirage has actually gone up in price since the Last Chance reprint in Dominaria Remastered. It is literally the same card. In January 2023, Final Fortune in Mirage was available for about $17 market price, and now it's $22, $24. 2 red, instant. This is the difference.
Oh, okay.
Final Fortune is an instant. Last Chance is a sorcery. Take another turn after this one. You lose the game at the end of that turn. That makes all the difference, Alex.
It does. My bad.
I'm actually disappointed.
I thought there was a little difference when I said it. I was going to say something like it's almost the same, but I was like, I knew it was pretty close.
There were a lot of Mirage cards that I still want to pick up like play sets of. I don't need a play set of Final Fortune. I'd be happy with 2 of these. I don't ever see myself ever playing more than 2 in a single deck.
For sure. No.
Probably only have just 1 in a deck.
Yeah.
But
I might have 2. Maybe I'll trade you one.
I'm disappointed to see these Mirage card prices going up at all right now. I want everything to drop. I was used to them dropping from their 2021 highs. Now they're on their way back up, just like the S&P 500.
I want Final Fortune to go because I have it.
It's making me difficult. It's making it more difficult for me to accumulate my positions.
I don't want Hall of Gemstone to go up. It has dropped since I bought mine. Very frustrated.
Good. I'll pick up.
I should probably get another one of those. I need more.
Load up, Alex. Never stop buying Hall of Gemstone.
I need more Hall of Gemstone. I think it's down to like, I saw like $11 or something.
Next card that was rarity shifted from rare originally to mythic rare and Dominaria Remastered and reprinted. I was happy to see this one drop. Nut Collector. Originally printed in Odyssey. I wanted to buy this card because I'm like, squirrel decks would be fun. And then squirrels went insane in 2021, 2022. I don't understand all the squirrel-related card prices.
A financial headline for you there.
They went absolutely berserk. We actually have an episode where they titled like "Speculate on Squirrel Synergy" or something.
Yeah, I mean, we made a deal. Yeah, we're so smart.
Because we saw
By the
this
way, you
movie.
get all of Gemstone for like $7.50, $8 right now. Sorry,
Damn. I think I bought one for like $15, like 8 months
and
ago.
mine was almost 20. I think. I was like glad I got it for under 20.
But Nut Collector, if you bought them in 2022, they were $50. You're upset. But now I'm excited because I want to start picking some up for about $6.
That is a big drop, huh?
Crazy. I don't know what was going
Just
on.
the squirrel fervor faded.
I have no idea, Alex. All the squirrel cards are coming down. 5 colorless, 1 green creature druid, 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token into play. If you have threshold, all squirrels get +2/+2. So very cool, but really just in a squirrel deck.
Yeah.
I don't think this many people wanted to start playing squirrel decks all of a sudden from 2021 to like beginning of 2022. It friggin' 10x'd in a year.
And this never had a reprint.
Now it's come back down. First reprint.
Okay. So that might be one people were like speculating on because it was, pseudo reserved list or something.
Even better, if you just want to play squirrel decks, you can pick up these Dominaria Remastered reprints for like $1.
Nice.
Here's the extended art one. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. He looks crazy.
A total loon surrounded by squirrels, giggling maniacally.
Loving life.
Living the dream.
Humming a tune.
Collecting nuts, befriending squirrels. I was excited about that. Another card that I wanted, because one of the very first decks that I wanted to build when I started getting back into Magic and learned about premodern was like just a big angel deck. Mana ramp, something I would put maybe mana vaults in, Urza's Mines, and just play big fat angels, a lot of which have casting costs of 2 white and then many colorless. But if you can ramp them out with big lands, mana vaults, etc., you could also play this card to help you cast them earlier. Urza's Incubator. This is a card I wanted for my angel deck. I never put the angel deck together because Urza's Incubator is expensive. But it's getting less expensive. This is something that was just going up and up and up and up. And then I feel like this price drop is definitely due to the reprint. They announced the reprint, and that's when it started plummeting. So it's almost halved in price. $45 to 20-something or 30. Urza's Incubator. 3 colorless artifact. When Urza's Incubator comes into play, choose a creature type. Angels, maybe. Creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 colorless less to play. There's Urza. That's the thing he's incubating.
Getting incubated.
I think this was also not reprinted at all until Dominaria Remastered. Nope. Commander 2015. Shut up, Steve. You don't know anything. Also, Commander Anthology Volume 2. Dominaria Remastered cards still expensive. Over $15.
Yeah. Wow.
Shows you a lot of people must really like this card because we've seen all these cards we talked about so far. If you look at the price of Dominaria Remastered, it's like really cheap compared to the original. Yeah. This is still like up there. I like Urza and all the art that he's in. He looks majestic.
Dominaria Remastered price list. Force of Will, the Empiric Tutor, Sylvan Library, then Urza's Incubator. So it's like the 4th most expensive card.
I got 2 more rarity shifted reprints that I thought were cool. Also rare to mythic rare. This is a card that I will never buy. Just kind of neat. Just don't see myself buying it, running any decks. Legacy Weapon was was reprinted in 10th edition. Originally printed in Apocalypse. This is cheap. This may have never been expensive. Oh, it plummeted in price, Alex, from $4 to $1.50. It was never expensive, but that is a massive price drop, and it did happen right when the reprint was announced. $4.50 to $1.50. Legacy weapon, 7 colorless legendary artifact. Pay a white, blue, black, red, green, remove target permanent from the game. If legacy weapon will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal legacy weapon and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. I wonder if anybody's ever built like just like an uber control deck that is all just designed around having more mana than your opponent and playing legacy weapon and just using legacy weapon to just like
It'd be fun to try.
It would be fun to try. It'd be very difficult, but it would be fun to try.
Use, mana sources that help you summon artifacts or reduce the cost of artifacts.
Mm-hmm. A Tron deck. Well, the only thing is but then you run into with this card, you run into the issue of its high casting cost, which you can get around different ways. But then on top of that, to activate it, you need one of every color.
If you get around the high casting cost, you still have to be able to do one of every color. Yeah. Tricky. It would be fun to try, though. I'd like to try it.
I'll have to look to see if there's any legacy weapon decks out there that people have gotten to work very well. Final card. Also a card that I'll probably never buy. Test of Endurance. This was rarity shifted from rare to mythic rare. Originally printed in Judgment, collapsed starting January 2023 from about $20 to significantly under $10. Test of Endurance is 2 colorless, 2 white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 or more life, you win the game.
Is this not banned in Commander?
It probably is, actually, right?
I don't remember seeing that, but it's got to be so easy to abuse.
Again, if you wanted to just pick this up to play, you could get the Dominaria Remastered versions for under $2. Let me look this guy up on Scryfall real quick.
Yeah, see where it's legal.
Because, yes, this would be very easy to enter the game with in Commander. Which I don't always think about Commander. Test of Endurance. Legal in Commander.
All right. Well, I know what I'm building.
Okay, Test of Endurance deck. Pillow Fort Test of Endurance. Most boring deck to play against ever.
Super boring.
You just counter everything I do. You kill all my creatures, and you play in Test of Endurance.
I just play life gain.
Sit there with your ivory
life
tower.
Gain, more life gain than you can damage me for long enough that I can net 10 life.
It doesn't seem like it should be difficult.
I guess if you put it down in a 4-person game, 3 other people now immediately try to destroy it, right? It just becomes a target, so it's probably not as strong as I'm thinking.
That's true.
But you could start off with the life gain and then play this later.
Play it later. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to play it before you gain the life.
Yeah. So heads up if one of your opponents is 49 life.
And they have white mana.
Yeah. Watch out.
Well, that's the end of my review of the cards that were reprinted in Dominaria Remastered that affected the price of some old frame cards that I want to pick up in the future, except for potentially Legacy Weapon.
That's cool. What are they fighting each other with, by the way?
Those things.
What? What is that?
Antique lamp bases. There's a lot going on here that I don't understand. I don't understand their heads, their faces. Don't totally understand.
Scepters of congealed custard.
It's an antique lamp base.
Okay.
If we have learned nothing else, we have learned to survive, says Mystic Elder.
Because they're not fighting with deadly weapons.
Contact Mike Plug.
Okay, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Maybe he'll know. Alex, I think it's time for the Old Man Magic Commander Corner. We're about to end this episode.
Bust them out.
We're about to end the episode the same way we ended every episode in 2023 so far. We're going to continue building our first ever commander decks, our old frame commander decks, because that's pretty much what we have. If I ever pick up a delighted halfling, it will then have one new frame card in it, because I wanted to put a delighted halfling
frame
into
card in to match yours.
I haven't done it yet, though, because
I accept this. I wasn't complaining. I'll just have to start thinking.
I did not. I probably will not have a delighted halfling because I didn't pull it from the 2 collector boosters that I bought from Lord of the Rings. I'm probably not going to buy any more Lord of the Rings. My commander deck is called the Pump. My commander is Jacques Levert. It's a green creature horde deck. I'm still adding to the horde. I'm trying to put out a lot of green creatures. I'm trying to create a lot of green tokens. I'm trying to then cast spells or spells with effects that pump my green creatures, make them bigger. I'm trying to go wide with my tokens. I'm trying to trample with my big creatures. It's a very straightforward deck build, creature-based. Alex, today I have 2 cards to add. One is a creature. Trying to build up those creatures. Wither Seed Tree Folk. This is a card we talked about many episodes ago now on generating card advantage in green. It's not traditional card advantage, it's not card draw, but it's a card that I could play over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
So I get potentially more bang for my buck. Also, I like the fact that he tramples. 2 colorless, 3 green, trample. When Weatherseed Tree Folk is put into a graveyard from play, return Weatherseed Tree Folk to owner's hand. 5/3 trample. Just trying to think of more creatures. I don't like that he's 3. He's boltable.
But he'll be bigger than 3. You know, anytime if you have 5 mana to bring this guy out, you've almost certainly done something to pump him already, right?
If I have Jacques Levert out, or if I have Kays out, he's going to be above 3. If I have a Wily Wolf, I can pump him. If I need to save him with a Giant Growth, I can save him with Giant Growth. There's ways to get around. If somebody tries to bolt my Weatherseed Tree Folk, I might just let him bolt my Weatherseed Tree Folk.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Replay him.
Yeah, there's some interesting decisions you can make there, or force your opponent to make. You know,
it is a lot of mana to consistently be playing this card, though. 5. He's in for now. We'll see if I keep him.
Yeah, well, if you like have to cast him early because it's like one of your only options, and then he gets killed and bounce back to your hand, then maybe you can end up like saving him for later on. You know what I mean? Like,
I figured there are going to be times where you just don't have anything to do, maybe. And if you're Weatherseed Tree Folks in your graveyard, on that turn where you don't have a creature to play, you now get to replay your Tree Folk.
Yeah.
Gives you the ability to do something on some turn where you might not have anything else to do because you just didn't draw the cards that turn.
It goes well in your deck.
Next edition is something I thought I added already, but I didn't. Natural Order. I got some high casting cost creatures in here that I might like to natural order out, especially early game. Some Hazes on Tamar, some Rith the Awakener. Maybe I need to bring in some other natural. Oh, Verdant Force, of course. Is a great natural order target. I do like these cards.
Yeah, that's a good looking card.
I'm blanking on what this set was called, what this release was called. Kaldheim, yeah. That sounds right. Is that right?
Sure, it's right.
I don't have any of these cards, but every time I come across the art from this set, I'm like, oh, these are really cool to pick up, actually. MTG Stocks is frozen again. So let me not worry about that. Let me just change those divisions, because that's the card that I have. That's the printing I have. Strixhaven. That's what they're called.
Oh, that's from Strixhaven. Okay.
Yeah. Strixhaven has very different art. The Visions art has this big cat on it, and we're going to have to revisit this one day. We spent episodes trying to figure out if this was a cheetah or a leopard. I have no idea, really. I went down, I consulted the internet. I went to Wikipedia. Couldn't find the answer. I went to a local university, talked to some zoologists there, brought them this image. Nobody could give me the answer. I went to the public library, downtown branch. was going through the Encyclopedia Britannicas. I was in the microfiche. Nobody could give me the answer. I went to South Australia, Alex. I was at a zoo in Adelaide. I saw a big cat keeper. I had this card with me because I figured I'd be going to a zoo. And I pulled it out. I showed her the art. I said, is this a leopard or a cheetah? She said, I have no idea. Let me do some research. I'll get back to you. She took out her cell phone. She took a picture of this card. So she had it with her. 2 weeks after I got back from Australia, I received an email from this lady at the zoo in Adelaide, South Australia. She said, talked to some colleagues. I've done a lot of my own research. I don't yet know. I think it's a cheetah, but I'm not sure. I'll get back to you in the future. Haven't heard back from her. It's been like 6-7 months. Anyways, I have the natural order version of printing of this card. I like the Strixhaven. I said the natural order printing. I have the Visions printing. I like the Strixhaven art too, though.
It's the end of the show. We're sleepy.
Therese Nielsen.
No.
Cancel. QAnon. Anyways, Alex. Alex is going to add some cards to his deck. Let me do something real quick. Let's go to play test. How many cards do I have to add? My library is 86 cards strong. That means I have to get this up to 92, right? Because because 7 in my hand, then commander plus 1 is 100.
Oh, okay.
So I have 6 cards left to add. I'm trying to figure out how many cards I have left to add.
Wait, 101, right? It's 100. 100.
Oh, is it 101?
No, I'm mixed up now. I'm going to say the wrong thing. Everyone knows this except us.
And we should know this because we started the Omega Magic Commander Corner.
I think maybe it is 99 plus 1. Because I think you buy, otherwise you have to buy 100 sleeves and then buy another 100 sleeves in order to have 101 sleeves.
That's how they get you. Anyways, I have either 6 or 7 cards left to add to the deck. I'm trying to stay creature focused. I'm trying to make this a creature horde.
Yeah. 100 cards.
How many creatures do I have so far? 29. I feel like I have more creatures, but I don't. It's right there. 29 creatures. The numbers don't lie. We're going on Alex's deck. Alex's deck is called Group Mud. His commander is this thing. Corona, False God. I kept wanting to say Kamal, Fist of Croza. No, that's a green creature in my deck. Corona, False God. It's a 5-color deck. Maybe Alex will put Legacy Weapon in it. Maybe not.
Probably not.
Definitely not. It is a Pillow Fort type deck. He's going to hide behind counter spells and protective enchantments and things. He's going to play some creatures that grow over time.
Yeah. Have a few effects that my opponents might like so they aren't upset with me. I'm trying to avoid direct removal to make people angry. So I'm using some bounce. I'm using defensive creatures. Just want to try to gently redirect them when they attack me so they don't feel like doing it again.
Defensive, the Wisp. Defensive, Sport Frog. Defensive, Trade Weird Wide.
Fog, which is a green darkness.
Offensive, Windborne Muse.
I have Festival, which is a white fog.
Holy Day is a white fog. Darkness is a green. No,
okay, sorcery.
We talked about Festival.
I thought I put it in sorcery.
And you either removed it or decided not to go with it.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, I'll have to come back to that.
But you have darkness.
Like that. I already have several spells like that. I'm worried I have too many.
Which is a black fog, and then you have Holy Day, which is a white darkness, which is a black. Last week you added this dumb elephant card from Mirage.
I did add the sad elephant because I just think this will be so much fun. I have to put this in a commander deck. This is my first commander deck ever. So I'm going to put that in there.
I don't know what you're adding.
This won't do anything useful for me, but it'll be fun. I'm allowed to have a fun card or two.
Do whatever you want, buddy.
Today I'm going to add Spirit Monger.
I love Spirit Monger.
He's sweet. I want to add him.
I don't have Spirit Monger in my deck only because I'm not allowed to play black cards in my deck. If I had black in my deck, I'd probably add Spirit Monger too. Apocalypse printing?
Yep.
Spiritmonger also printed in Dominaria Remastered.
Oh,
So many
yeah.
sick reprints.
Wonder what he's at for Apocalypse now. If he's like
TCG players tell me $1.99 right now.
sweet.
It was never cheap though, right? I mean, never expensive.
$5, $4 or $5 a while ago.
I think when I bought them, they were about $4.
And
Spiritmonger.
You know, I know this card's not super great, but I feel like it really goes in my deck. And I said I'm not going to put too many more enchantments in, but I want to add Spider Climb.
Spider Pig. Spider Pig. Is there a pig card that you can put in your deck so then you can play Spider Climb on it and sing the Spider Pig song? Where did you go? Where did you go, Spider Climb? Did I add you successfully? You're an enchantment.
It's enchantment, yeah. That you
I didn't scroll down far enough. Come on, Steve, get it together. Spider Climb. 1 green, enchant creature. You may choose to play Spider Climb as an instant. If you do, bury it at end of turn. Enchanted creature gets +0/+3 and can block creatures with flying. Spider Climb.
Yeah, I think a nice little defensive augmentation. I can put it on some of my good ground blockers, make them a little beefier and able to block flying creatures. That's all.
Okie dokie, Alex. I think that brings us to the end of episode 48. I think it was a success. I think everybody who clicked on this video and started listening, listened all the way to the end. I thank you for that. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow us at Old Man Magic on Twitter. And today, I just started an Instagram account and a Threads account. We're Old Man Magic on both of those platforms. I only started the Instagram account because you have to start an Instagram account to start a Threads account. Still trying to figure out how to use Threads. Don't even know. Maybe people will migrate from Twitter to Threads. I don't know what people are doing. They're angry about everything all the time. They hate Twitter, but doesn't mean they're going to stop using it. Who knows? But now I'm probably going to be shadow banned on Twitter because I tweeted that I started a Threads account. And Elon Musk personally every day starts his day with a cup of coffee by searching Twitter for the word Threads. And every account that he sees posting about Threads, he shadow bans them. So we're probably screwed. We got to put all of our energy into Threads now. So please support us on Threads at Old Man Magic. Do you have anything to say to the viewers today, Alex, before we leave?
Thank you for tuning in.
Okay. Talk to you next week.